Alright, hello, this is Jeff Scott at Blackhawk Technical College. I'll be coming at you right now trying to do the rest, pages 115 through 132 of the handout that we had for the iOS Apprentice 2nd edition Tutorial 1 Getting Started the BullsEye project. Alright, this is kind of where we left off last time, and one of the things that we were asked to do here is we're asked to go up to our button that's on here, that's our button that's over here on our About, our Close button that's right here. And we're asked to make it look like this one. Now I could just copy that one over there, which would probably be the cheating way of doing it, but let's see if we can do it the other way. Now again, I'm not going to be concerned here with doing all of the work as far as the shadows and stuff like that. I just don't have time. I'm hoping to get this done in a half an hour or so. So I'm going to click on the button, on the Hit Me, or on the Close button rather. And as it says, I'm going to go to the size inspector. Excuse me. Oops, I want to go to the size inspector. All right. And it says set the width to 100 and the height to 37, which it almost is anyway. Then we're supposed to go to the attributes inspector. Let's get these mixed up. And change the type in here to custom. Then under background, we want to click the drop down and we want to choose button normal. We want to set the font to Arial MT bold size 20. Good for nothing. Wasn't system, I know it was under custom family, I think it was. There we go. Alright, so Arial rounded MT, and we want that to be of size 20. Alright. Now they want the text color to red. What I did for the color was I literally, on right here, I clicked on color, and it brought up the crayon here, and clicked there, and just chose that. Alright, and for text color, kind of did the same thing, and I think that's what I wanted for text color, was I wanted that to be that color right there. There we go. So again, I'm not going to jack around with the shadowing and stuff that they show on 111, 112, 113, etc. I think I pretty much finished that button so it looks like the other one now. So sorry, I'm just going to continue on. All right, so that gets me to page 115, and I know some people had problems with this yesterday. I may also. All right, again, I did this last year. It all pretty much worked, but I know there were some issues also. All right, so, okay, it says page 115, using a web view for HTML content. The About screen could still use some work. Change the Close button on the About screen to make it look like the Hit Me. We already did that on the bottom of page 115. Now select the text view and press the delete key. It says, yep, you're throwing it away. We're going to put a web view in its place. So I've got it highlighted, hit delete. All right, I want to come down here and I want to find a web view. There it is. All right. And let's move this up a ways here. Here. Again, I realize this isn't perfect. It's going to be far from it, but it's fine. Okay. All right, so it says go to the Project Navigator and right-click on the BullsEye group, the yellow folder. From the menu, choose Add Files to BullsEye. All right, now some people had problems with this depending on where you chose, what you did, etc. Because it's very easy to choose the wrong thing and click add and add everything. Well, what I want to do is I want to go to the desktop, and I've got the Spring 2014 folder. No, that's what I just did. Shouldn't have double clicked because I'm so used to doing that. I should have just single clicked. I hope I didn't add all that stuff, but I may have. Same thing I just said that other people had problems with. I just did the same exact thing. Oh, silly. All right, add files to BullsEye. Let's try that again. All right. So desktop. It doesn't matter which one of these I choose, but both of them under BullsEye have got the, someplace in here should be the, there's it is, the BullsEye HTML. All right, and click add. Not sure if I did it right or not, but we're going to probably find out very shortly. I guess this isn't what I should be doing early in the morning, but that's okay. All right. Again, it does not appear as though this took, so let's try it again. I want to select the BullsEye HTML file from the resources folder. As it says, that's an HTML5 document that basically has the rules in it. Because I went too fast on this. I shouldn't have done that. Now I'm paying for it. There's that Spring 2014. And I didn't want that in there, so. Wonder if I go and right mouse click on this, if all I'm going to do is just totally screw it up. Alright, try that again. Hopefully I didn't screw it up too badly. If I did, we'll all know very quickly. Yeah, the one that we wanted to add was in here. This one here. Let's try the other one here. Yeah, the file that I want is the HTML file, which is right here. Alright, so it says here on 117, the author says make sure that the copy items into destination groups folder is checked. It is. And that the add to targets, there's a check mark in front of BullsEye. It is. So now they say to click add, which is what I tried to do before. We'll see. File, there it is, bullseye.html. All right. In the About View controller, .h file, we are told to add another property. It is non-atomic weak. It is another IB outlet. And this is a UI web view. And we're told to call it web view. All right. In the storyboard file, so we're told, probably a nice time to save. All right, so in the storyboard file, we are told to connect the UI web view element to this new outlet. Cannot be copied. Okay, well, it says it already existed. Okay, but there it is up there anyway. All right, so I want to go to the storyboard. All right, and again, I want to, let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger. So it's funky otherwise. This looks like it's a little bit off kilter, so it doesn't look too bad right there. All right, so control drag from the view controller to the web view. There's my view controller. Control drag to the web view. If you do it the other way around, you'll connect the wrong thing and the web view will stay empty when you run the app. I thought I was supposed to do more than that, but let's click on this here. I'll tell you what, let's click on the button there and we'll go over here to Connections Inspector, touch up inside, boom. So now we want to come up here and under the Connections Inspector, it says we've got it. All right, the view, and okay, so that looks good. All right, so we want to go to the about view.m file and we want to make some changes to the viewDidLoad method. Super viewDidLoad. All right, we've got to add a little bit of code in here. Now, one of these is, that should be NS data. Hopefully that's the only mistake I've made. All right. And hopefully I haven't made any more mistakes. Self, review, data, HTML data, MIME type, text URL, text, encoding name. Well, I'm hoping that I don't have any more errors. It looks like I've got something here that it doesn't like. Property web view not found on object. That doesn't look like it's going to be very good, but we'll see as we go on. Hopefully that'll fix. It says this loads the local file into the web view. This bit of source code may look scary, but what goes on is not really that complicated. First, it loads the BullsEye.html file in the application bundle. Then it loads it into an NSData object, and finally it asks the web view to show the contents of this data object. All right, let's say I've got a feeling it's not going to run because of whatever error I've got there. So let's see if we do, if it succeeds or fails. Not found on type about view controller. I don't understand that. I thought in here in the .h, there it is, there's WebView. Add property, non-atomic, weak, IB outlet, UI WebView, star WebView. It's right there. But it's still not recognizing it, and I don't for the life of me understand why. It's because I put it in the BullsEye view controller, not in the About view controller. Command X should have gone in here. That hopefully will fix the problem that we had. All right, so let's try to run it. And ideally now, when we run the app, what's going to happen is it's going to, the About screen is going to have the same kind of look and feel because it's grabbing the information from the .html file. So in other words, it should have the light tannish type of background, and our button should be the right color also. All right. Again, I know people had problems with some of this stuff. I'm now on page 119, and I want to take a look at this in the simulator and see what it looks like. And go back, and I'm going to pick it up. Hopefully this is going to come up. All right, let's try the information screen. And the program blows up. Unbelievable. Thought everything I put in there was correct. I've got some kind of error in there that it doesn't like. So, let's take the simulator and let's quit. And let's go back and look at the rest of this stuff. Okay. Again, I've got an error. I don't know what the error is because as far as I could tell, it looks like it says here thread breakpoint, so there's something in this line that it still doesn't like. I'll go back one last time and very quickly look at the code that's up above that. Superviewed it load in a string star HTML file in his main bundle, path for resource, bullseye of type HTML. That all looks fine. It has data, star HTML data. It has data, data with contents of file, HTML file. That looks fine. That looks okay as far as I can tell. Now, as far as I can tell, everything in here looks correct, but as you can see, there's some kind of a goofy error in here. So I'm going to go on, which is silly, but I'm going to anyway. All right, supporting 4-inch screens. It says, so far you've designed the app for a 3.5-inch screen, as you can see right here. But what about the newer models, such as the iPhone 5 and 5C? They have a slightly taller screen, and the 6 is, of course, is even bigger, known as the 4-inch screen, where the 3.5-inch Retina are 960 pixels tall, the 4 inches are 1136. That's a difference of 176 pixels. You have to fill up somehow. In this section, you'll learn how to do that. All right, so they're telling you to run the app in the 4-inch simulator. Again, what I'm getting is some kind of a runtime error, and it looks like it's in this line right here. I'm still not sure where it is. The app will work fine, it says, but it does have an ugly bar on the right-hand portion of the screen. This is the extra bit of screen that the iPhone 5 has. So again, I'm going to try this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It says, obviously this won't do. Well, there's the extra space. You can see that right there. So let's just stop the simulator. Okay, go back to the program. So we're told to open the main storyboard. Implicit conversion loses integer precision. Long to int. That's interesting. It's trying to tell me where that is. That should definitely not be making it blow up. That hasn't even not reared its head for quite a while, so that implicit conversion, I'm not sure why I'm even getting that, but that's fine. I'm just going to go back anyway. So we're told to open up the main storyboard, which is what I'm doing here. Okay. Click on the tiny form factor that you see on the bottom of the screen, which I believe is right there. All right. It says the storyboard now looks like this, sporting the same white strip. First, let's fix the background image on the main screen. Grab its handles and resize it so it takes up the entire screen. Okay, so hopefully that fixed that one. And there's supposed to be a way to very easily make this navigator appear and disappear, but I always forget what it is. Show the project navigator. Okay. So I want to click on this one also, and I want to first click on here and widen, come on, widen this out. Click on here and widen this out. And finally click on here and widen this out. Maybe even shove it up to the top here. Alright, probably take my button and move it over a bit also, so that's a little better. Alright, so it says grab its handle, so I did that. This is not enough to fix the problem. The screen now looks stretched out on a 4-inch screen. It doesn't have enough pixels, so the UI stretches it out and gets it cut off on a 3.5-inch screen. It says you can see this by toggling back and forth between the two. Okay. What you need to do, I'm on page 120, what you need is a second background image that was designed for the 640 by 1136 pixels. As it turns out, you already have that. Such an image in the you've already added such an image to the asset catalog. That's called background image 568 at 22x.ping. In the images folder, all right, it currently looks like this in the assets catalog. It says click here to view. You can see the 2 X's that are in there. Okay. All right. So the author says, select the background image set and open the attributes inspector. Under devices, change from universal to device specific, which I already have. Deselect iPad, which is not selected, and check Retina 4-inch, which now is selected. Now drag from the unassigned image to the new R4 slot. I don't have an unassigned image, and there is my R4 slot. So I've already got it in there. Not sure what R4 stands for, but Retina 4 sounds reasonable. That is the image you want to display for 4-inch devices. It says, run the app on the 4-inch simulator. Now it does use the proper image. You can tell that because the circles really are circles, not stretched out ovals. You can compare that to the ping from the images file if you want to be sure. All right, well, let's try that. We've got 4-inch in here. Let's go and run the program and see right now what it looks like. Up to page 121. Making some progress, but not nearly as quickly as I would hoped. Okay, here it is on the 4-inch. And as it says, it does properly stretch. I'm not even going to try the hit me because it broke when I did that. But I can't move this. But I think when I click hit me, it's just going to break. Oh, you almost had it. Okay, 96 points. Good. How about the eye screen? That's where it's blowing up. Okay, so it's something that I put in here, as you can see right there. Something it doesn't like. All right, I'll have to go back and look at that again later. So, all right, now it says try it in a 3.5-inch emulator. So let's go back to the Retina 3.5-inch. Stop the run and run it again. And it says, whoops, still doesn't look good. So let's see. Okay, it doesn't look bad, but I guess it maybe looks a little squished. I don't know. It says, funnily enough, I didn't know that was a word. The app really does use the proper image now, but the image is still 568 points wide. Because the image view is wider than the visible screen, the image still gets stretched out. This is where auto layout comes to the rescue. So, stop the run, go to the main storyboard. A little miffed about this right now. I want to look at that because I'd love to get that to work. But when I looked at it, I didn't see anything in there that looked wrong. So, only thing I could think of is when I actually made the connection in there, that connection is not correct. All right. So we want the storyboard. And we're told to click on the image view. Remember, we can bring this up. There, now we've got the, oh, that's for the about view. I think we don't want it for that one. I think we want it for the BullsEye view controller. All right, so there's the image view. Okay, it's now selected. It says click the small pin button at the bottom of the window. It says this menu lets you pin a view to its neighboring views. For the background image view, you want it to always have the same width and height as the view controller itself. The way to do this is with the auto layout is to pin the four sides of the image view to the four sides of the main view. In other words, the top of the image view will always be in the same spot as the top of the main view. Likewise for the bottom, left, and right sides. In the pin view, click the four T-bars at the top. I know some of you told me you did this yesterday and it didn't work. Okay. Then click Add 4 Constraints. You won't see much of a change in the view itself, but in the outline pane there is now a new item called Constraints. There it is down here. There should be 4 constraints listed here. I'm single clicking on it, hoping to open it. Maybe it doesn't open, I don't know. Alright, it says there should be 4 constraints listed here, 2 horizontal space constraints and 2 vertical space constraints. The way you use auto layout is by defining relationships between your different views, the so-called constraints. And again, we should be getting into this stuff much more next semester. Alright. When you run the app, UIKit evaluates these constraints and calculates the final layout of the views. This probably sounds a little abstract, but you'll soon enough see how this works in practice. There are different types of constraints, horizontal and vertical, that you're using here. Make sure that there's always a certain amount of space between the two views. In this case, you set the values of these constraints to 0, meaning that the views always sit side by side with no extra space between them. Alright, so now we're told to save and run the app again. It says run it on both the 3.5-inch and 4-inch simulators. In both cases, the background image should look exactly like the respective images from the resource folder. So there's the one in 3.5 inches. As far as I can tell, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty symmetrical, etc. Well, let's try running it again, and first we'll change this to Retina 4-inch and then run it one more time. You can see it's wider now. And again, as far as I can tell, it still looks correct. Alright, so let's stop this, and then they're telling us to do the same thing for the About screen. Alright, so it says let's repeat this for the About screen. So I'm going to click on this to highlight that, and again I'm over here now, so I'm in the About view controller. In the storyboard, revise the view image so that it's 568 pixels wide and fills up the entire view. So I'm going to go here, 568 pixels wide, and then it takes up the entire view. Alright, use the pin menu to add the 4 constraints. Now I'm not going to be able to test this again because when I run this, the program blows up. From the pin menu, Alright, it says run the app to verify it works. It's a bit harder to see the background image because of the web view is in the way. It says you can temporarily hide it by checking the hidden option. I'm not even going to do that. It says, of course, the close button are still completely off. In the storyboard, drag the close button so that it snaps to the center. I'd already done that. Interface Builder shows a handy guide near the bottom, useful for aligning objects. From the pin menu, for the button, alright, so again I want the button here. Alright, again it says from the pin menu, alright, it says select only the T-bar for spacing to the bottom. It says there are 20 points. It says also select width. Well, I'm just going to have the ones that they have here. Funny thing is they have, it says select width 100. Oh, that's up here. Select width 100 and height 37. This means you want the close button to sit at a distance of 20 points from the bottom of the screen and give it a certain height and width. Click Add 3 constraints at the bottom here. So we already put that one in. So So that's add one constraint. I guess it's where they want that here is 100, and they want 37 right here. Maybe that's it. And I'm looking here, I'm just going to try putting in the numbers that they have, which are 15, 234, 234, and 20. And then it says to click the 4 constraints, add them to finish. Interface Builder now draws 3 orange bars around the button. Okay. The T-bars represent the constraints of which the button now has 3. A width that says the button is always 100 points wide, a height that says the button is always 37 points tall, and a vertical space constraint that keeps the button at 20 points distance from the bottom of the screen. There is one problem. The T-bars are supposed to be blue and not orange. Orange indicates something is wrong with the constraints. All right. For this app, it will look best if the close button is always centered horizontally. It says again, click the close button to select it. From the Align menu, the one next to the Pin menu, it says choose horizontal center in container. And then add one constraint. Okay. I'm looking, and I think when I did this to begin with over here when I said all that stuff a minute ago. All of this. When I set it up, I should have been clicking here and here. So I guess all I really wanted to do according to this was I wanted T-bar for the bottom. Wanted to click there and make that 20. Then I wanted to click on here and change those values, and I didn't do that. So not sure if I screwed anything up by doing that, but I hope I didn't. All right, it says run the app. The close button should now be centered, etc., etc. All right, I'm not going to do that because, again, I'm having problems with that line of code. All right, so I'm up to page 125. It says, what happens if you don't add any constraints to your views? In that case, Xcode automatically adds constraints before it builds the app. That's why you don't need to bother, well, you hadn't needed to bother with any of this before. However, they may not be what you want. There's only one thing left to fix in the About screen, and that's the web view. So we're told to select the web view and open the Pin menu. Select all 4 bars and set them to 20 points. Except the bottom one, okay, which is 8 points. This time for update frame, select items of new constraints. And then click the add 4 constraints. Now again, I have different numbers than the ones they show in the book. They've got 437 and 228. I've got 568 and 206. It says there are now 4 constraints on the web view on page 126 that they're showing. All right, 3 of these connect the web view to the main view so that it always resizes along with it. This is enough to determine size and position in any scenario. Run the app, try the different simulators, and verify that it always looks good. All right, finally they say to select all the labels, buttons, and the slider. It says you can hold down on the control key and click them all individually, but an easier method is to go to the outline pane, click on the first view, all right, which is the Hit Me button right there. Hold down on Shift and click on the last view. well, it says that, so. Should be everything right there. Well, they don't show it, they show it up to the constraints. So right there. All right, from the Xcode menu bar, choose Editor Embed in View. This places the selected views inside of the container view. The view is now completely white, which is not exactly what we want, but it does make it easier to add the constraints. Select the container view, and open the pin menu. Put checkboxes in front of width and height in order to make constraints for them. Click the button to add constraints. With the horizontal view, with the container view still selected, open the align view. Check the horizontal center in container and vertical center in container options. For the update frame, select item of new constraints, and then click 2. Add new constraints. Finally, change the background color of the view to clear color. Now you have a layout that works correctly in both 3.5-inch and 4-inch screens. Auto layout may take a while to get used to. Adding constraints, etc. is a little less obvious than just dragging them into place, but the idea is it's going to look more symmetrical and the way that it should look. Alright, finally on 128, the author says here, I cannot conclude this tutorial before mentioning core animation. This technology makes it easy to create really sweet animations in your apps with just a few lines of code. Adding subtle animations with emphasis on the subtle can make your app a delight. You will add a simple crossfade after the start over button is pressed, so the transition back to the round won't be so abrupt. So in the viewcontroller.m, BullsEye viewcontroller.m file, we are told to go in here and change the start over method. As follows. Okay. Oops, function with name. That's better. I'll have to look at that. A few things it doesn't like here. So I'll have to fix that. Then after this, we are told to come in here and add here class method for selector animation. Transaction, transition. That should be transition, not transaction. Okay, that fixed that one. Fixed all the other ones. CA transition star transition equals CR transition animation. Okay. All right. The calls to start new game and update labels were there before, but the cat CA transition stuff is new. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. Suffice to say that you're setting up animation that crossfades from what is currently on the screen to the changes that you're making to start new game. Run the app and move the slider so it's no longer in the center. Press the start over button and you should see a subtle crossfade animation. All right, so let's save. Hopefully we can do that and that'll work. Getting there. All right, so it says and you saw the animation, hopefully. All right, you're almost done with the app, but there's still a few loose ends to tie up. They say open the image cassettes XC assets folder and select app icon. I don't see app icon. It says this currently has 3 items for the different types of icons the app needs. 2x, 3x, etc. In Finder, open the icon folder from this tutorial's resources. Drag the icon 58 ping into the first slot, iPhone Spotlight in settings 29 point. So we want to drag that into here. So in Finder, open the icon folder. Trying to figure out how to do that from Finder. All right, that's Finder there. So from Finder, says that what we want to do is open the icon folder. Find the icon 58 ping. Well, there's the icon 58 ping and put it into the first slot. Right. Says you may be wondering why you're dragging the icon 58, not the icon 29. Remember this slot says 2x, which means it's a Retina device. Drag the icon 80 into the middle slot. And drag the icon 120 into the last slot. All right, drag the icons into the proper slots. The icon 1024 is not used by the app. This is for submission to the App Store. All right. It says run the app and close it. So let's take this. Good time to save. says you'll see that the icon has changed on the simulator springboard. So it says run the app and close it. Guess that's not the way they wanted us to close it. Alright, so run the app. What we should be seeing when we run the app is when it shows us all of our different icons. The icon should have changed so on here, but I think it's just going to run it right away. So run the app and close it. You'll see that the icon has changed on the simulator springboard. So I want to keep the simulator up. So how do you do that? How do you keep the simulator up? I don't want to click there because that'll close it. If I click there, that'll close it. That closes everything, and I don't want that. So let's look on here. Did it change? There's BullsEye, and should have changed on here. That was what was supposed to happen, and evidently it didn't. Okay. Alright, I'm on 131, so I only have 2 more pages, and this has just been, a mixed bag as far as what's worked and what hasn't worked. Starting an app usually takes a short while, so an app can specify a placeholder image. That's exactly what you'll do. Alright, we're told, let me stop the run here. Stop the simulator. Alright, so we're told to open the asset catalog. Boy, now look, I've got 3 different problems, so I'm going to have to try to go back and fix those. Alright, it says open that and go to launch image. Go to the launch image set, which I don't see. Thought that's what they meant with the assets catalog. Button highlighted. Show slicing. I would think this is the place I'm supposed to be at, but this is not where I want to be. There's the launch image right there, that one. Oh, okay. Go to launch image set. Alright, from the launch images folder, drag the default. So I'm going to have to go back and do this the way I did it before. Good, it's smart enough to have remembered that. I want to go back here. And this should be in launch image. Alright, drag the default by 2 into the 2x slot. And the default 568H into the R4 slot. These 2 images are identical to the background image but turned sideways in order to compensate for the landscape orientation which it runs. Run the app and notice the transition to the app looks smoother. Little details like this count. One last thing, so we are almost finished. You name the project BullsEye and it is the name that shows under the icon. However, I prefer it be BullsEye with a parenthesis or with an apostrophe between the last L and the S. There's only limited space under the icon and for apps with longer names, so you have to get creative. However, here there's plenty of room. This is a setting you need to make in the app's info.plist file. From the project navigator, so I think I can close this now. So from the project navigator, Or from the project navigator under supporting files, select the plist. Seen that before. There is a row near the top named bundle display name. It currently has the value product name in it. This means that Xcode will automatically put the project name BullsEye right there. Double click it and change it to BullSI. Alright, let's move off of there so we can go back and do a file save. We're told to run the app again. And it says to quit it, so it sees the name and the new icon. The author also removed anything that was inserted by the Xcode template that wasn't actually needed for the game, and that's on the end file. That's pretty much it. So I have to see if I can fix my couple of errors, and then hopefully I'll be done as you will hopefully be done. So this works. I can go back to here. Alright. And click OK. Notice I get the score and my round goes. Okay. I can start over new, but this is where it was blowing up, was right there. So there's still something on that line of code that it doesn't like, so I have to go back and look at that. Alright, but what I want to do is stop the run here, run it again, click that, and then look in the simulator here. Should have happened is that should have changed. That's changed to BullsEye, but it doesn't like, it didn't take my images when I tried to put them in. Alright, what should end up happening, so I'm done, but I just wanted to show you this. What should end up happening, let's do I don't want to quit Xcode, but let's close the project. Okay, and I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go over to, I thought I saved it. Maybe I didn't, so bring that in here. Is this it here? Yep, that's it. Let's go to the final completed project. It doesn't matter if we have it with or without comments, so let's just go to this one here. Alright, so this is it. So this, unlike mine, should work okay. What I might do is just try to copy that code into mine to see if I can figure out what they did that I didn't do or whatever. So what we should notice now is when we go to run this, first of all, it should work, where again mine didn't work. Okay, now when I go over to here, boom. Okay, that looks good. Close, goes back again. All that looks good. And if I I want to run it again. I don't want to do that. I want to see. Go back to the simulator now. There it is with BullsEye. Alright, right there. Alright, so the authors worked and mine did not. I will try to investigate and see if I can see why. Hopefully if you get time and have the interest, you'll do the same. Okay, that's all I've got.